Here. Are you calling?
Yes. Beth Campbell,
Here.
Joan Cooley.
Here.
Mark Hayes is excused for this evening. Glenn Steve.
Here.
And is Dr. Christina Minetti on?
Here. Are you calling?
Yes. Beth Campbell. Here. Joan Cooley.
Here.
Mark Hayes is excused for this evening. Glenn Steve.
Here.
And is Dr. Christina Minetti on?
Are you calling?
Yes. Beth Campbell. Here. Joan Cooley.
Here.
Mark Hayes is excused for this evening. Glenn. Not that I know of. Are there any changes to the agenda?
No.
Okay.
So, as indicated, approval of minutes for May 26th. Assume everybody read. Somebody would like to approve the minutes?
Move the minutes of the last meeting be approved.
I'll second.
Moved and seconded. Meeting minutes or
Got a little.
ready to approve? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. No scrivener errors this time.
Right.
I kind of looked for that, but
Yeah.
sometimes I miss that stuff anyway. Okay. Announcements. Any announcements? Very good. So there's no announcements. Some minutes here.
Thank you.
Public comments. We're public tonight, so it doesn't look like too many comments. Public hearings, there are none. The Squally Tribe outreach. So, report budget reservation officer.
Courtney has been invited to attend a board meeting at the Nisqually Tribe in order to go ahead and move forward with the Troy map update. So there's the update I have.
Any idea when her meeting is?
I don't think that was fully scheduled yet,
Okay.
but it was.
Hopkins House designation termination. Scheduled on July 5th.
I have no updates
Okay.
on that.
I think that Courtney was just putting it in there that it hasn't happened yet because you guys have made your motion on it. And so the next step would be city council, but they won't see it until July 5th. So at your next meeting, we'll get the update.
Lakewood touring map update.
I do not have an update.
Okay.
Okay, my question would be, I see the comments by Courtney, whether or not the parks would be all listed on our map.
Right. I believe that the last thing mentioned was that council member Branstetter
Yes.
mentioned that he felt these parks should be added, that this year it was the Wards Lake and the Springbrook Park were not included on the featured list. And I believe that during that particular council meeting, his point is that the city is putting so much money into restoration of those two, and that it will be done over this construction season, that he felt we should add those two. And I believe that Courtney mentions it in here to you and would have wanted to hear your thoughts on it.
Are they historic?
Well,
Yes.
they are, because Ward's Lake, I know, was done after we became a city. Springbrook officially, I think, was after we became a city. There's a couple others that are still, I don't really know. You have to look at the history of those. I have no objection to those that are historic. However, one thing that can be done, since parks are probably the only thing that would qualify for historic designated properties, are Fort Stiligan, North American Lake, Tiligan, maybe Kiwanis. Kiwanis predates that. However, it was donated, at least from my information, by the citizens that lived around it back about 1948, 49. But I don't know that that's absolutely sure.
Okay, so I can mention these comments to Courtney when she returns from her vacation. If you'd like to send your thoughts directly and only to Courtney, each of you individually, not as a group in email, to send your own thoughts to her.
We don't want to have an accidental public meeting.
Right, and allow her to look into it a little bit further, so she has more accurate information at your July meeting
Yeah.
for you. And that's the notes that I've taken. I wrote down what you said.
So the map hasn't been,
No, she hasn't moved forward because she's waiting on a couple of meetings with the Nisqually tribe.
okay,
Everything else she's confirmed with you guys, the historic signs and the placement of them onto the maps. A couple of the roads that you wanted to be more prominently designated, the Tacoma Speedway. So all of that has already been forwarded to the design company and they're working on it. But they're not going to print until Courtney has a few more meetings. I think she said she wanted 2, and to be able to bring back information to you of the ideas that the Nisqually tribe has. Because just because they're suggesting, you guys have the final say. This is your map, so she hasn't had the meeting yet, so it won't get pushed forward.
Because
one other thing that Courtney could talk about with her meeting with the Nisqually tribe. The Lakewood Museum has not had any kind of an Indian artifact display. Although there are things available to us, such as moccasins, arrowheads, that are probably from the immediate area, difficult to prove. And many in the Historical Society is looking for stuff with tags on it that says came from such and such a street in Lakewood.
Okay.
As close to that as they can. So I know there are moccasins, there are Indian purses, there are headband, beaded headband things, arrowheads that are from the Tacoma area, but in those days, in the days that they were found on all the beaches around the Sound.
So what is it that you're wanting? Do you want?
Well, it'd be nice to have an Indian display in the Lakewood History Museum.
Are you wanting Courtney to try to get you a contact and maybe have a meeting and some of those? Okay, so again,
Or if they have any ideas on that.
could you write a short sentence or paragraph to Courtney
Okay.
so that it's coming from you to her only, and then she can at the meeting perhaps feel that out, see what's what their thoughts are, because she hasn't had a meeting with them yet at all,
Yeah.
and doesn't know how
Might as well
involved.
cover as much territory.
Right.
as
And it might be kind of cool to be able to like photograph some of the things that you're fairly certain came from the Lakewood general area too.
Because
And have
maybe
a
by just
photograph
looking,
on the map,
at
you know,
it.
like have a little map site of where, you know, like that
Well, one of the
moccasin or
things
person
of
of
the
the king, have
Northwest-
a little picture of it and go, and there are more items on display at the Lakewood Museum.
right,
And they have been on display in the Lakewood Museum previously.
Yeah.
Just however,
Not
they've
currently,
got
but sure you
a
can get something together.
consultant, which has to have pedigrees on everything.
yeah, maybe they could just look at them and say, this is a recognized
Mhm.
pattern
Or
used
it's
as
consistent.
particular track. Sure.
Okay.
Okay, so I'll put that in the notes. Please remember to each of you send individual emails to Courtney.
My concern with like adding on parks to the touring map is if they're not historic, then it's just clutter.
Right,
It's not a park map.
right. And she's aware
Yeah.
Yeah,
of how you
So
all feel.
I think with all the parks, it becomes a park map.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
maybe
it's a
not
separate
historic. If
Yeah.
it's
If
just
there's
with the historic
something
parks,
tie
I
in there,
don't
then-
mind, but that's about the only thing this board can nominate and approve
So,
with city council approval, which may not be that easy either.
well, and it was just his thoughts, and she
Yeah.
said she would bring them back. So,
So, yeah,
Courtney
I mean,
goes to
I'd
those
like-
meetings, not me.
Yeah, I mean, I'd like more
Sure.
information about why someone thinks that those need to be included on a historic touring map.
Right.
You know,
So
if,
that's-
if they've got something, then let's talk, you know, if there's something going on there, then cool.
And I like Mike, I mean,
Oh, of course.
he's just a great guy.
Yeah,
But I think that we need to keep in mind that this is about history, not about dollars spent on any particular part.
Yeah.
I mean, that is not our,
If they're gonna
Defining,
put something in cool, it's
purpose.
Frankbrook that helps tell the story.
Indian
of-
art or
Of
something.
historic Lakewood,
Sure.
then it should be on there, even if the park itself isn't historic, if it's something that involves Lakewood history, then yeah, because I'm all for something that people can actually visit.
Right,
You know, I mean, they can't get in any of those houses unless they're personal friends with the owners.
still
You
on
know,
the subject of parks, Blueberry Park, I think, is also a good one. Because that didn't happen until they decided to put blueberries out in the flat.
yes,
yes,
Courtney just put the list here
Yeah.
of the parks that are involved in this
Yeah,
site, the interactive map that she sent
Yeah.
you.
Yeah.
Friendly Park, I don't know.
That's a neighborhood park, and it has been put there in the last 15 to 20 years, so that is not
So
historic.
that's new most.
She knows
See, I
this.
don't
I
mind.
don't wanna stick
Old
Ponders
stuff.
Park in there, because it's like old, but in order to see the old thing,
Yeah.
you have to cross the street and you might get run over.
Yeah.
So unless we designate Pizza Casa and El Toro, and then it's definitely a good choice to put on there, because people can visit those places.
that is true, and they
Yeah,
received.
and they are old.
And they are, I mean, Pete's Cast was, I moved here in 1965 and Pete's Cast was there then.
Yeah, it's been there since
What was that?
1952.
Pete's Casa, we
And
had
what was the other one you said?
El Toro.
It's right next door.
How long has that been there? Do you have an idea?
I should know because I've been there enough,
Yeah, at least in the 60s, it's one of the
yeah.
Place.
older ones.
Okay.
So, yeah,
What-
Pizza Casa used to have a sign back when they didn't get along. It said,
Yes.
you want to eat it
Ponders Park
Italian,
is
you
right
park
across
it
the
here.
street From the
So
Pizza
what
Casa
was the
and El
name of
Toro.
the little park?
On South
It's called
Matilda.
Ponders
It's
Park.
on
Ponders
the
Park.
Yeah, because that's Ponders Corner.
Right.
Yeah, and there's one of those big pyramid things made out of river rock there with the historical marker thingy on it.
About the
I know the
trail.
marker's
Yeah.
been there probably
Yeah.
since the
Yeah, the marker
30s.
itself is
However, I don't know that
historic,
it was, I don't know that it was a historic park or a
No.
old park at the time. I
No,
think it
no,
was
it's,
just the
it's,
marker
it's a
was
grassy
there, so-
part of the parking lot is what it is.
So, you
With a
know,
picnic table, but
we need histories of all these parks so that when they become Time-
become 50 years
timeline
old.
critical for 50 years. They might be added or they might even be designated.
Right, it would be a good thing to keep track of,
Yeah,
Yeah,
keep a little log.
they may become more interesting as time goes on.
So this will go into the minutes, but I'd like to reiterate again, make sure you send the
Yes,
paragraph to Courtney with your thoughts so that she will also review the YouTube channel of this meeting. so she can hear the thoughts.
Okay.
I think that
is
pretty much it.
Christina here?
Can you tell if Christina is trying to get on or not?
Only people on. Or
She probably had something to say about the library, but
that's, nothing in.
Yeah, I don't think she is. And Mark was excused because he had a conflict. So, and Beth also mentioned that Christina has a class at the same time.
oh.
And they may be doing something tonight and she couldn't.
yeah, that she couldn't get away from.
And if she sent the email to Courtney only, I didn't get it, so
Now, she's a doctor of.
I'm not certain.
Something
Mine.
that she teaches.
Huh?
It's, I think it's history.
Yeah.
I'm not certain.
Maybe,
I'm not
I
certain.
don't. Okay. Well, what's, I don't remember the application or even seeing it, but
On
I
don't know.
Yeah, I don't know if it
Looking at that.
says.
enthusiastic individuals.
okay, moving on, unfinished business, tree preservation code.
Well, Courtney's not here to tell you, and I am involved with the planning commission. That's another meeting that I go to and take minutes. So what I can tell you about that is Courtney had explained to you how the tree ad hoc committee started and how for several weeks they all met and put their ideas together. The next step in this program was to complete several outreach meetings for the general public, which has happened, and to gather those thoughts. Then that draft went before the planning commission, who picked it apart for 5 weeks. And they've gotten it to a point where the draft is presentable one last time to stakeholders. They are going to hold, they being the planning commission are going to hold a public hearing after the stakeholder meeting. So I believe the public hearing is in July. And it will, they'll listen to those public comments, and then the draft is likely to go through a couple more iterations before the planning commission signs off on it. And once they sign or approve a resolution, if they do, when they do, then it will move forward to council. And then council will pick it apart, hold a public hearing, decide through a couple more discussions on the resolution they want, because council always has the final
Yeah.
decision. So that's the point that it's at right now. And there's more opportunity until June 30th. So I believe that's the end of the week, next week. You had all said you might like to make some comments, but I'm not certain that you sent anything forward to Courtney that you wanted to present. Okay,
I didn't, there's
Okay.
enough people making comments.
okay.
Mine is not gonna count for anything, so no point.
It's been pretty impressive to look at it. And I believe that you would be happy with some of the things that
Well,
they.
that's where I was.
Proposals
Yeah.
last time, and yeah, and it looked pretty good.
So I know that Courtney, once it's at the point that planning commission is ready to approve it, she'll show you that. But just know that it will go through a couple more iterations.
Yeah,
once
yeah.
council is approved it, And she'll show you that one as well.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'll let her know that you don't have any written comments that you'd like to put forward. Okay.
I just wish somebody could come and pluck my Japanese maple.
Joan would like to
Breaking my
preserve
heart.
a non-native, but desirable.
I would think that your
Yes.
best bet would be to call around to a couple of local,
I've called a couple of nurseries.
okay. Because they would be the only ones that
That's right.
would
Yeah,
have a
they would
small
have the
enough piece that
ability,
could get in there and, because that's what they do, work in sole
Exactly right.
properties. But if they're loaded up like everybody else for this summer season,
Yeah.
sorry, we can't help you. We don't have any equipment like that, and we don't have an arborist on staff.
I know, I didn't know you did not have an arborist on staff, but I should have known by some of the pruning I see getting done some places, but then I tell you.
Did you see University Places pruning that
Yes.
happened a couple of years ago? Oh, my.
Anyway, I'm
Yeah.
going to have to say goodbye to my tree.
Yeah, sorry about that, Joan.
It's okay, won't be the first time.
Okay, so I believe that all of you are at number 7, new business.
Oh, so sorry.
No worries.
Okay, do we have any new business?
Not from staff.
I'm not aware of any.
This is gonna be a mere records meeting.
Yes. Well, I have one question, and I think it is probably on our work plan someplace, but between my blindness and my senility, I'm just gonna jump at it. Where do we stand on community designations? Are there any in the offing? I'm thinking of the Denny's and I'm thinking of Valero Lanes and a few of those other places that we had, I think, on our list. Are we just kind of on hold with all of that until the touring map is a done deal?
Honestly, I don't know.
Okay,
Well,
Courtney would know where anything is if there's a list, but I
Mhm.
don't remember. I know that you have spoken about it and
About that,
brought it up
yes,
once in a
yes.
while, but I
and
don't
the
know. that
donut shop,
Yeah, I don't know about the Denny's, but I know like the donut shop, it's been on Glenn's list for a long time.
mine too.
Yeah, and mine.
Yes, the Denny's is
Considering
definitely
the
circa.
potential demise of the library, you better get
Yes.
hold of the donut shop.
Denny's may not be recognizable before long.
What's up?
The one on 100th Street?
No, the one at Pack Highway and Bridgeport, the corner.
Yeah, it still looks like it's mid-century.
It's still,
stuff.
it's been there since the,
Yeah.
I'm sure, 50s.
So you're not talking about the one that burned.
No,
'Cause we don't know what
Yeah,
that's
that one
gonna
used
turn
to,
out.
used to be something else before it
Yeah.
was something else before.
Yeah.
So it's not especially distinctive architecturally. Not too worried about it.
I think that I remember that when you were discussing your work plan, that you chose some low hanging fruit that you wanted to take care of right away. And so your group focused on 3 or 4 items to get taken care of. And so I think that's maybe why nothing has moved forward
forward to any.
on these.
Yeah,
Well,
because
those are all non-Lakewood owned,
That's true.
private property and need private endorsement before they could be designated, which has always been the hang.
Right,
yeah, it's
The
like,
thing with parks is, it's city property
sure.
and could be designated.
if it isn't already,
No,
well, but like, what about Fort Stoughton? I mean, I think the
well,
park
it's
as a
got,
whole
it's
is,
got the
but it's
national
got it.
designation. The only one that counts is Lakewood. For any kind of,
So maybe we need to get on the ball for that.
well, let's see what the city has to say about it.
Don't look at me, Mr. Steve. I don't know what the city has to say.
Well, I don't want to add any of my comments, but
So send your comments to Courtney. We'll get back with you.
Good plan.
I repeat, send your comments to Courtney.
okay, well, that was one of the other things they needed.
We have any views?
Next.
Number 8.
Yeah, we're going okay.
Before the half hour. Next meeting is scheduled for 28th of July. which I assume is a Thursday.
Yes,
Yes.
fourth Thursday at 6 p.m.
Oh, thank goodness it's on
Okay.
Saturday now. I think I can do that.
Any other comments for today?
Please remember to email Courtney.
Yeah. Well, I got the
Individually,
notes now.
not as a group.
I don't lose the package in the meantime.
Okay.
This email's better than trying, well, she wouldn't be available on the phone anyway, so,
I prefer email.
yeah. so she may
It
not
allows
remember what
people
I have
to
to say.
manage their own time.
Right.
She may not see the deeper meaning or whatever. Okay, any other comments for the night?
I have nothing.
Okay, Christina has been interested all along in the Lakewood Library and possible designation. And I know I talked to some board members of the volunteer,
The Friends group.
the Friends group, and they said that they might possibly have some Pierce County Library people who might be interested, however, I haven't heard of them. So that probably is going to be unlikely. They were going to be dumping all the books that are downstairs for recycling or whoever wanted them. It's a huge amount of stuff,
Yes.
which I assume they won't be recouping any kind of, they have to get all new book donations.
Have a
Go on.
sale.
Yeah.
I've got a garage full. It's the saddest thing on earth, is what it is about
Yeah.
the library.
Well, it's unfortunate, they can move the library, but they can't move books. So, I can see the logistics, and there was a big crew there working when I went to visit. I saved a few things, hopefully for the Lakewood History Museum, however, nothing's really related to the history of Lakewood. So as a consequence, they're not terribly interested in other history, so I am, but they're not. Okay, any other items for tonight?
Yep.
We have a
I'm
Motion.
meeting be adjourned.
I'll second it.
been moved and seconded to adjourn tonight. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
We are adjourned.
Is the,
29.
is the building coming down? Is that?
I would assume that'll be the case because they say it's $15 million to put it back into.
Month ago, it was 5 million.
Yeah, it just keeps.
And that was